Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's September 27th, 2023, and we are in the Old Testament in the book of 2 Samuel. We're going to read chapter 16, 15 to chapter 17, verse 23. All right, so we're well after the events of Bathsheba and Uriah, and that sin has come to light. And we're dealing with the aftermath of that sin, the consequences of that sin, which was that God told David, hey, you know what? You cause strife in a family, you're going to have strife in your family from now on. The sword is never going to leave your family. And we see that his sons were fighting and raping his daughters and killing each other. And in this case, one of his sons, Absalom, has now decided that, hey, you know what? I should be the king, and he is coming to dethrone David and take his place. All right, now David understood that and he fled. So we're seeing Absalom come back into Jerusalem in this section. One of the people that's with him is Ahithophel. He was David's best advisor, his smartest advisor. Absalom knew that for his coup to work, he had to have Ahithophel on his side. Now, Ahithophel, it stops short of calling him a prophet. It says he's a very smart person. So he's the kind of guy who he could figure out God's plan, and he could figure out how he could exploit that plan. I think the example I would use is Biff from Back to the Future with that almanac. He knew how to bet on all the games. That's Ahithophel. He understands God, and he knows how to bet on God and win. But Ahithophel also has his own dreams, and when that intersects, we're going to see that there's where the folly of Ahithophel came in. Is he kind of forgot that God wanted to go this way, and he started thinking God wanted to do what he wanted him to do, that he was going to pull God towards his plan. I guess to go back to Biff, that would say, we get to the championship game, and the almanac tells Biff I should bet on this team, but he says, I really, really like this team. I'm going to bet on this team anyway. And then he loses. So Ahithophel bets on the wrong team here. He understands Absalom is gonna rebel. That he's gonna cause David to flee. But we see in here when Ahithophel starts to get the plan of, okay, you know what? I'm going to take 12,000 men and we're going to go after David. He's only got 2,000. That's 6-1 advantage. We're going to catch him before he gets anywhere. It's not going to be a 6-1 advantage because all my 12,000 are going to go after David. It's 12,000 to 1. And when we capture him, everything's done. So he sees a path where he can become really powerful and he can become Absalom's second in command. But he forgot that God's plan is Absalom is going to fail. And we see at the end of this, when Ahithophel is reminded that, hey, the plan is the fall and you went with the wrong team, he ends up killing himself. And we should kind of see in that story, Jesus Iscariot's story of okay, we don't know exactly what was going through his head when he thought he was betray Christ, but there was more than just the money. And when he realized, oops, I'm on the wrong side, he kills himself. Same with Ahithophel here. When it becomes obvious that he's not going to get the place that he thought he was going to get, he ends up committing suicide. He doesn't get the place because Hunai, one of David's other advisors, that's the one he sent back to say, hey, when Ahithophel gives him good advice, I need you to counter that good advice. And how does Ahithophel do it? Well, he appeals to Absalom's pride and says, hey, you know what? You don't need to go chase after him today. You wait until tomorrow when we're well rested. You can lead a huge army out there, and people can see that you went out and killed David yourself, and everyone will come running behind you. And ultimately, that's the plan of Absalom. So Hunai understood, flatter him, and he'll do what I want. He'll go against the good advice, which is, hey, go get him, go chase after David right now before he can get settled, because all you need to do is take David out, and everybody else will fall apart. We see them give the messengers to Zadok's son, and they go out. And Hunai, again, just to show how smart he is, he understands that if Absalom does what I say, David's got a good chance, but there's still a chance he can say what Ahithophel says. So he lets David know both plans and says, okay, here's both plans. I'm doing my best to encourage plan B, but you guys need to be prepared for plan A just in case. Whereas Ahithophel, he only had plan A, and that was it. And that was, he was going to become the second in command, and when that didn't happen, he had nothing left. And that's something that we need to understand is, hey, you know what, when we see God's plan, and it intersects our plan, well, our plan up here isn't going to work. Our plan needs to start coming back down to God's plan, and that's how we're going to have success and get to the prize. Because our plan just leads nowhere. Our plan leads to death, whether by our own hand or by the universe's hand. Death and destruction is the result of our plan. Heaven is the result of God's plan. All right. I think that's about all we need to talk about before we read this. So let's go ahead and we're going to read 2 Samuel chapter 16, verse 15 to 17:23. Meanwhile, Absalom and all the people, the men of Israel, came to Jerusalem, and Ahithophel was with him. So it was when Hushai the Archite, David's friend, came to Absalom, that Hushai said to Absalom, "Long live the king! Long live the king!" Absalom said to Hushai, "Is this your loyalty to your friend? Why did you not go with your friend?" And Hushai said to Absalom, "No, but whom the Lord and his people and all the men of Israel choose, his I will be, and with him I will remain. Furthermore, whom should I serve? Should I not serve in the presence of his son? As I have served in your father's presence, so will I be in your presence." Then Absalom said to Ahithophel, "Give advice as to what we should do." And Ahithophel said to Absalom, "Go to your father's concubines, whom he has left to keep the house, and all Israel will hear that you are abhorred by your father. Then the hands of all who are with you will be strong." So they pitched a tent for Absalom on the top of the house, and Absalom went into his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. Now the advice of Ahithophel which he gave in those days was if one had inquired of the oracle of God. So was all the advice of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom. Moreover, Ahithophel said to Absalom, "Now let me choose 12,000 men, and I will arise and pursue David tonight. I will come upon him while he is weary and weak, and make him afraid, and all the people who are with him will flee, and I will strike only the king. Then I will bring back all the people to you. When all return except the man whom you seek, all the people will be at peace." And the saying pleased Absalom and all the elders of Israel. Then Absalom said, "Now call Hushai the Archite also, and let us hear what he says too." And when Hushai came to Absalom, Absalom spoke to him, saying, "Ahithophel has spoken in this manner. Shall we do as he says? If not, speak up." So Hushai said to Absalom, "The advice that Ahithophel has given is not good at this time. For," said Hushai, "you know your father and his men, and they are mighty men, and they are enraged in their minds, like a bear robbed of her cubs in the field. And your father is a man of war, and will not camp with the people. Surely by now he is hidden in some pit or in some other place. And it will be, when some of them are overthrown at first, that whoever hears it will say, 'There is a slaughter among the people who follow Absalom.' And even he who is valiant, whose heart is like the heart of a lion, will melt completely. For all Israel knows that your father is a mighty man, and those who are with him are valiant men. Therefore I advise that all Israel be fully gathered to you, from Dan to Beersheba, like the sand that is by the sea in multitude, and that you go to battle in person. So we will come upon him in some place where he may be found, and we will fall on him as the dew falls on the ground. And of him and all the men who are with him there shall not be left so much as one. Moreover, if he is withdrawn into a city, then all Israel will bring ropes to that city, and we will pull it into the river until there is not one small stone found there." So Absalom and all the men of Israel said, "The advice of Hushai the Archite is better than the advice of Ahithophel," for the Lord had proposed to defeat the good advice of Ahithophel, to the intent that the Lord might bring disaster on Absalom. Then Hushai said to Zadok and Abiathar the priests, "Thus and so Ahithophel advised Absalom and the elders of Israel, and thus and so I have advised. Now therefore send quickly and tell David, saying, 'Do not spend this night in the plains of the wilderness, but speedily cross over, lest the king and all the people who are with him be swallowed up.'" Now Jonathan and Ahimaaz stayed at En-Rogel, for they dared not be seen coming into the city. So a female servant would come and tell them, and they would go and tell King David. Nevertheless, a lad saw them and told Absalom. Both of them went away quickly and came to a man's house in Bahurim, who had a well in his court, and they went down into it. Then the woman took and spread a covering over the well's mouth, and spread ground grain on it, and the thing was not known. And when Absalom's servants came to the woman at the house, they said, "Where are Ahimaaz and Jonathan?" So the woman said to them, "They have gone over the water brook." And when they had searched and could not find them, they returned to Jerusalem. Now it came to pass, after they had departed, that they came up out of the well and went and told King David, and said to David, "Arise and cross over the water quickly, for thus has Ahithophel advised against you." So David and all the people who were with him arose and crossed over the Jordan. By morning light not one of them was left who had not gone over the Jordan. Now when Ahithophel saw that his advice was not followed, he saddled a donkey and arose and went home to his house in this city. Then he put his household in order and hanged himself and died, and he was buried in his father's tomb. May God bless the reading of his word. May God bless you. Bye.